afternoon. My name's Agnes Kalibata. I've been introduced. I just want to appreciate you being here, but before I go into details of the interview, I just also want to appreciate and underscore the role of media when it comes to things like this. We are here, we are a handful of people trying to think and get work done for the continent. So the media really has a huge responsibility to take this word out there. I mean, what is happening in this juncture for the African community, this Caadp that gets to be how we regalvanize and put energy into, new energy into how we look at the agricultural sector. So to your question though, what challenges have we seen with the last Caadp? The biggest opportunities that heads of state saw, African heads of state saw the need to come together and to have a North Star that helps them think about how to invest in this sector. They did understand very well that investing in this sector was very critical to the development of our economies. 10%, when done, translates into 6 to 7% in terms of GDP growth, from the agricultural GDP growth. And that's huge. We have work where countries that have done it have actually seen huge progress. Any country that has invested 10% has seen huge progress. So the biggest shortfall has been that very few countries, or a handful, let me not say very few, a handful of countries have been able to do 10%. And there are many challenges as to why that would be the case. I guess the biggest challenge is that we need to have strong economies, and it's a chicken and egg thing. To be able to invest in the agricultural sector in ways that can be transformative means that you're getting the money from somewhere else, right? And when you have 101 priorities in our countries, it becomes extremely difficult to consistently put that money in one sector. But the missed opportunity is, it's the sector that employs the most people. So that chicken and egg comes back to haunt us when we don't do it. The other challenge is that we live in a place where we are challenged by things that are existential to our own countries, our own development. We've seen a few in the last decade alone. I remember one of the biggest challenges that has been in place, climate change. What it means is, we started, when climate change started being a problem in 2015, because that's when you can put fingers exactly that this actually is beginning to undermine development of the African continent. When it started being a problem, we started putting more resources into dealing with the climate change challenges. Our economies, our countries are putting an average of 9% of their GDP into dealing with the challenge of climate change in agriculture and infrastructure and all these other things, far more than we are putting in agriculture. So these challenges, climate change, COVID-19, wars that impact how we access, for example, the Russia-Ukraine crisis really impacted how African farmers access fertilizers, because some of this, the trade ecosystem that had been developed was disrupted. That impacts how we invest in things. When debt goes up and up, when the world, this exchange rate ecosystem that impacts how money is accessed, it impacts how Africa accesses resources and what Africa is able to do. So I think the biggest challenge is not being able to have the resources that was intended. And I say this very intentionally. In 2003, our heads of state made this declaration with a clear intention to make a difference in the sector. I want to assume that the only reason we haven't done this is because of resource challenges. Are we in a better position today? We have even more challenges today. Because, again, all that has happened means that on average we are paying more than 20% of our GDP to deal with debt. On average, we lost so much money because of COVID. We lost so much money because of climate. We are losing so much money because of climate change. So the good news now, I guess the good news of what we are doing today here is trying to incorporate these challenges into the next generation of Caadp, recognizing that we need to refocus the challenges we had in 2003 when we did the first generation. We need to think and refocus our attention, but also understand sectors. What are the sectors that present opportunities, and what are the sectors that need doubling down and areas that need doubling down for us to be able to do more? And I'm really proud of what the African Union has done in getting this Caadp here today secured, because it has shown urgency. The Union has shown urgency in getting this work done, but it also has incorporated some of the critical elements that we are hoping to see some in the sectors that are critical to the sector. So, for example, incorporating the whole food systems agenda, recognizing that nutrition, recognizing that hunger numbers are increasing, but also recognizing that how we use the environment is very critical to sustainability of the agricultural system itself. So many of these things are being incorporated, and it's really, really critical as we wind down this Caadp, and as governments take up this Caadp agenda, these are things that I feel will give us better opportunities to implement it.
Thank you. The second is, this summit is very key in advancing agricultural development on the continent. Can you just share with us AGRA's support, which has translated into tangible impacts for the African farmers?
AGRA has, AGRA, first of all, is an institution that works across 15 countries on the African continent. Our ambition is to work to support the agricultural sector across the continent, and it's not about being physically present in a country, as it is ensuring that every country has what it needs to define its own development agenda. So in the countries where we are at, we use it as an opportunity to define what the development agenda looks like. We have coined the word transferable assets as a way of thinking about what products do we develop that then can be used from country to country, whether we are present or not present, and then be part of transforming the development of that country. Let me give you an example of seed systems, for example. To move the agricultural sector forward in a tangible way, in a productive way, ensure labor productivity meaning what the farmer gets for the labor he puts in, right? You have to have enough yield per hectare. You have any unit you plant, you want to have high yields, where you get, instead of getting 1 ton, you want to get 8 metric tons for nearly the same energy. So that's what using improved technology is about. What system then delivers that? It's not the technology alone. What system delivers that? What AGRA has done is to create the system and the ecosystem that delivers seeds to farmers across the countries we are working in. But we also have a model and an institution called CESA, Center of Excellence for seed transformation in Africa, which then can accompany. So if a country came to AGRA and said, we want to expand, we want to do something about our seed system, I promise you in 3 years, we can help them get a seed system up and running, because we do have the technology and the capability to do that. So that's number one. Number two is thinking about why has it been so difficult to transform the African farmer, right? What is holding us back? One of the things we figured out, not that it is rocket science, but actually it's been here and keeps being here forever, is the ecosystem around the farmer. We've always come at this smallholder farmer problem from a perspective of being very solution-oriented, in the sense that we provide a solution, and the solution is based at what we do well, not what the farmer wants. We've figured out to focus on what the farmer wants and what the farmer needs to transform his livelihood. The farmer needs seeds, but he also needs fertilizers, but he also needs a market, but he also needs water, but he also needs ABCD, he needs financial inclusion and all that. How do you create an ecosystem of service that helps business work with the farmer? Because they have visibility of who the farmer is, because they have means of reaching the farmer, because they can engage with the farming community. So we've, in nearly now, last strategy 7 countries, but now in nearly every country working now, I think now 12 countries, we've established that geographical base, what we are calling landscape-based transformation for farmers, where we encourage businesses to come in with us. Agra doesn't have the resources to transform a country. Agra doesn't have the resources to move smallholder farmers out of poverty. Neither do the people that fund us, they don't. But we do have enough resources to create the models that can help countries do that, right? So this consortium model allows private sector to come in as a player at any scale and in different places based on what the needs are, and be able to do their part. And as Agra, we keep looking for the weakest link. Two things that we've identified as some of the biggest weakest links: extension. So we come in and we pay for extension and make sure that extension is working. And then farmer organization, to just ensure that farmers are organized and visible. But also maybe just to add this, markets. Markets is always a challenge, and ensuring that farmers are linked to markets in a good way is something that we are doing as well. So there's no one single problem, but we believe that by creating these tangible assets that can be moved on from country to country, then Africa and Caadp, the Caadp agenda can be moved forward. We've also been part of tracking the biannual review. And the biannual review tracking, which tracks Caadp, is really about these things. Do farmers have access to inputs? Do farmers have access to markets? Are the farmers transforming their livelihoods? And again, you can't track what is not being invested in. So when you translate it backwards, it's everyday business that's happening at the farmer level and making sure that that everyday business is happening. So Agra's contribution really has been about creating those models, ensuring that technology is available at the business, micro-business level, business and micro-business level, so that it can go to farmers, but also that it is available to government as a model that can be scaled to millions of farmers. If Agra is working with 300,000 farmers, governments can easily scale that to 5 million farmers. So that's how we see ourselves supporting Caadp. But also then we've started another program, which I'm extremely proud of, at the Africa Food Systems Forum. The Africa Food Systems Forum, which used to be the AGRF, is a forum that we have built to bring public sector and private sector together, because these parts of the agriculture sector sometimes just don't talk enough. So bringing them together, we've now come up with what we are calling legacy program by country, which is where we help the country work on a development program, but we also help them mobilize resources for that development program. And we also assure the partners that have put in money that there's a tracking mechanism that helps us report back. So this will feed directly into the development agenda of the Caadp agenda. So it's something that we feel like will bring in new energy